Hey, Stuart from Primal Food. I just really wanted to introduce myself. So I just wanted to put together something so you can understand a little bit more about me, where I've come from, what my story is, and why I set Primal Food up, why I went into this crazy adventure that it's been over the past, nearly 6 years now. So just so you can understand a bit more about who I am, what I'm about, and as I said, what we're about as a business and what I'm trying to achieve through Primal Food, which ultimately will help you, hopefully. So, as I said, I'm Stuart and I am the owner of Primal Food. We're into our 6th year now, so I've been driving this bus for the best part of 6 years. And yeah, it's incredible how much we've grown over that period of time when I think back to when we started, in a very small rented kitchen space out in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, and now we have our own production facility and huge team of staff, and we pump out a lot of meals every single week, which is fantastic. But my origins really, I should probably firstly say, I should have said that in the beginning, but I'm not a chef, so I'm not the man who cooks your food or woman. I don't pretend to be a chef on the internet. I'm not a chef, so I can cook, and I know how I like to eat, but I'm certainly not a chef. So you can rest assured I'm not the one preparing your food, which is a good thing, believe me. My background really is, of all things, I started my career in banking. So I was a square peg in a very round hole for a long time. Worked in banking here in Melbourne for the best part of nearly 5 years coming out of university, and it was a fantastic opportunity, but at the same time I always felt that I never really fit. As I said, I was a bit of a square peg in a round hole. I wasn't a difficult employee or anything like that, but I always felt like I didn't belong, I guess, and there was something more that I should have been doing. I'm sure a lot of people have that feeling, but I really did feel that corporate wasn't really for me. I just didn't know why at that point in time. But what I've always been fascinated in is fitness and health, and I guess going into my sort of mid to late 20s, nutrition really became a real passion of mine. But just to give you an example, I've been going to the gym since I was 18. I'm now 38, so I've been going to the gym for 20 years, which is a bit of a shock to me actually when I realised that this year, 20 years straight, I've been going to the gym. My mum tells a story that she said it was like one day I went to the gym and I've been there ever since, which is not far off the truth. I do love gym and fitness and working out. But what that sort of transitioned into later in life for me was a real passion for nutrition. And just going back to working for the large bank that I worked at, I was one of those people at work that was considered a bit of a health freak, because I would always eat well. I'd spend the time on Sunday cooking up my meals so I can bring them into work on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. I'd do another cook and I'd bring my meals in, and it was always a priority for me. I could feel the difference, when I ate the way I wanted to eat, and I think I used to drive everyone mad that I work with, not because I was a health Nazi and I was telling them they shouldn't be eating the way they were eating, but in the beginning they were very interested in what I was eating and were quite complimentary. But I think over time, because I was so consistent with it, that it started to make them feel bad about what they were eating. They're sitting there having a focaccia, and I'm sitting there with a nice piece of chicken and salad or whatever it was. It made them feel quite guilty, which is actually an interesting process to go through in itself. But so I've always been, someone that was annoyingly healthy in terms of I would do the preparation because I really valued it and it was important to me. But that being said, as I said, I'm not a chef either, and cooking's not my passion. And I didn't really enjoy doing food preparation. I found it incredibly frustrating actually, because I was having to spend Sunday night basically 3 or 4 hours at least cooking up, meals, and I'd have to, before that, I then have to go to either the market or the supermarket, buy all the stock and, put it all in Tupperware and cool it down. It was a production, the kitchen on a Sunday night, and it used to drive my housemates and everything mad. So I never enjoyed it. I could always thought it was way too hard. I was always thinking there has to be an easier way. I can't be the only person struggling with this stuff, surely. So at that time I was thinking, well, why isn't there a shop that, at least in the CBD in Melbourne, that caters to what I want? And that was my initial concept. What happened was I left that large bank in Melbourne and I got a job overseas, which was a fantastic experience in itself. One of the best experiences of my life so far. And I was overseas for 5 years, and I was still in banking, unfortunately for me, but I guess by the time I was ready to come back from that trip overseas, or that working trip, I was in a position where I was thinking, what do I actually want to do when I come home? In the latter part of my journey over there, I'd set up a side business and was doing training clients, gym-based sort of training, and that sort of gave me a taste for working for myself, and I really, really loved it. I'd never done it before in terms of having my own business or working for myself, and I just could see that was the issue. I really wanted to explore that and see if I could do something for myself. So I came back with the idea that I would open a shop similar to the one that I couldn't find when I was back working for the bank in Melbourne, and opened in the CBD and offer really healthy meals, just simple stuff, chicken and salad and veg and that type of thing. But I was talked out of that. Probably lucky that I was talked out of it, because I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now had I gone down that path, because it was just out of the global financial crisis, and retail obviously was not a great place to venture into, particularly with no experience. So that led me to look online, and at that time, this was in 2012, there wasn't a lot of people doing what I was doing, or what I'm doing now. I sort of had one really large company doing frozen meals with a real sort of slant towards weight loss, and it fell away quite quickly after that. And there wasn't really anything that was similar to what I wanted to do anyway. So I just thought it was a fantastic opportunity, and it was incredible though when I came back. I was expecting Melbourne to have sort of become this obviously Melbourne's incredible in terms of food. I don't think there's anywhere better in the world than Melbourne, to be honest. No, I'm quite biased, but it was still really, really difficult to get healthy meals. If you were not going to prepare it yourself, people were still obviously faced with the same situation. So what I was trying to solve was that problem initially, and so I jumped in feet first, with little to no knowledge of this industry and what's involved. As I said, I'm not from a food background, so I was very neutral, but in a lot of ways I think that really helped me, because I knew what I wanted, and I knew that it wasn't complicated, and I knew there was a need, and I knew that I could really help a lot of people in this area. So I jumped in. That was 2012, and now here we are, some 6 years later, and it's been an amazing journey, and it's incredible now what I'm able to do, who I'm able to help, and just how interesting and fulfilling my life is now through Primal Food. I just owe this business so much. It's really changed my life in so many ways, and it's changed the lives of so many people, so many fantastic people I've met through this business, and I've been able to really, really help change a lot of lives, which, when I started this, I certainly wasn't going into the business to change lives, but I really feel that's what I do now. I help people solve a really big problem. And as you know, the problem of eating well is a problem almost every single person has. Everyone wants to eat better. And that's the frustrating thing. I very rarely speak to people that don't know how they want to eat. They're just falling short on the execution. And that's what's so frustrating about it. So they're not eating consistently enough the right sort of meals to see a physical, tangible result. And that's why they don't look the way they want to look. That's why they feel sluggish. That's why they feel tired. So it's actually incredible. In the beginning, I honestly thought that I would just be appealing to or targeting people who are just like me, people who are already doing their meal prep and, you know, like I was, slaving away in the kitchen and living in this sort of Tupperware nightmare every Sunday with the fridge full of sort of meals. What was incredible is that, yes, we still attract a lot of people like me. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that utilize Primal Food services that are just like me. But there's also another group of people that we really service really well, and it's been so great to be able to help these people specifically in the weight loss area. And we now do an incredible amount of work with people wanting to lose weight and change their body composition, and, as I said before, change their lives, develop new healthy habits, get them out of this cycle that they're in. And there's this segment of people that are really underserviced that need to lose weight, and we've developed programs around that. We've got a 21-day program specifically targeting people who are stuck with their weight. There's a lot of people in this situation that don't fit the normal weight loss stereotype. They're not overeaters. They're not binging on Domino's and Pizza Hut and Burger King at lunch. They're not lazy. They're really trying hard, and their diet doesn't look too bad on paper, but yet they're still 15, 20 kilos overweight. And that's who I really help now. That's my passion, because these people are just in limbo. And there's thousands of them out there, all suffering from the same set of constraints. And unfortunately, the current weight loss industry and what's available in terms of products and solutions for these people doesn't serve them at all. In fact, it makes their situation worse. So if you're feeling like that resonated with you, please check out our 21-day program. I think you'll find that's bang on in terms of helping you through that situation. If you are suffering from that, I would really urge you to have a read of that and see if that's you. So that's pretty much me and my story. As I said, I feel it's a privilege to be able to help people and really sort of share my knowledge. I mean, as I said, I've been doing this for 6 years now. I've done hundreds and hundreds of consultations with people I've helped many professional athletes right through to, stay-at-home mums or diabetics. My range of experience is extensive, and I know what works and I know what doesn't work. What you're going to get from us is the best. We do the best quality produce. I'm really big on nutrition, as I said. We spend a lot of time getting our menu right. We have a menu now that is designed to be reheated, which is just critical. Some foods just don't hold up, and through trial and error, we've been able to develop a menu that is amazing in terms of quality. And it's the best quality ingredient you can get. We only do free-range produce. All our menus basically whole foods, so we don't use any gluten, which means we can help people with FODMAP, digestive issues. As I said, do a lot of work with diabetics as well. So we're able to offer a really versatile solution for people. And I guess that's probably enough of me waffling on. I guess the only way to really see for yourself is to try it. I'd urge you to try it for a week and see the difference. I'm not going to sit here and say what we do is complicated. It is just food, but we do it really, really well. And ultimately what I'm trying to achieve is I'm trying to replicate the way you would eat if we could rely on you to do all the shopping, the cooking, the meal preparation, and do that every single day. And you and I both know that unfortunately we can't rely on you to do that. So that is the gap I'm filling in your life. And the hard thing is with when you're talking about nutrition, it really comes down to consistency and execution. So we really fill that gap for you and allow you to eat consistently and execute on eating well. And if you do that, you'll feel amazing, you'll look amazing, and yeah, that's really my goal for you anyway. Thanks very much for listening. Really appreciate your time. Obviously that was not a short video. If you're listening to this now, you know, we're nearly 15 minutes in, so I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my story. I'd love to hear your story as well. If you want to shoot me an email, we can set up a time for an initial free consult, and we can go through your problem and work out a solution for you. Thanks again for listening. Look forward to speaking to you soon, and if you have any questions, obviously you can contact us through the website. Thanks very much.